Why are names starting with a J common, while words starting with a J are uncommon? There's a reason J is worth 10 points in Word Feud. It's a quite uncommon letter. According to Lewand, arranged from most to least common in appearance, the letters are Toenschrodel Kamufjipkajask. Lewand's ordering differs slightly from others, such as Cornell University Math Explorers project, which produced a table after measuring 40,000 words. Here's a graph measuring the frequency of J in words. This URL, alphabetic.svg. Here's a graph measuring the frequency of J in names. This URL. Sure, there's a lot of words with a J in them, not many relatively, but there's very few words starting with J. Yet, there's an abundance of names starting with J. Here, I'll list as many as I can from the top of my head. Names starting with a J: Jack, Jackie, Jackson, Jill, Janet, Jeremy, Jeremiah, Jake, Jesus, Jacob, Jock, John, Johnny, John, Joe, Joel, Janice, Jerry, etc. Words starting with a J: jar, jigsaw, job, jacked, jest, jester, jeopardize, jeopardy, jaguar, jitters, jumbo jet, and probably some more. Now, is there a reason for this? Heck, is there even a great difference between the number of names starting with a J and words starting with a J?
A lot of the J names in English are from the Bible and would have originally been written with an initial I in Latin, as the letter J did not get started until the Renaissance. In modern transliteration of Hebrew, these names are written with an initial Y, for example, Yehoshua for Joshua, Yaakov for Jacob, or Yirmiyahu for Jeremiah/Jeremy/Jerry. The use of /d/sound in initial uses of I/J comes from early Old French, through Gallo-Roman influences. The reason why there are more names than common nouns pronounced this way is that Old English lacks word initial /d/ and Latin does not have a lot of word initial I/J followed by a second vowel, while Latinized Hebrew has many names starting with I/J. However, some Old French common nouns do start with initial I/J, and these properly became pronounced /d/ and spelled with J. For example, jeopardy, from je part 1, or joy from joie.
As pointed out in one of the answers above, the commonest names in English are biblical: John/Johann/Jean/1, James/Jacob, Joshua/Jesus, Joseph, Judah/Judas, etc., all of which are Hebrew in origin, and begin with the syllable Jah or Yah, meaning God. There are also common names of Roman or Greek origin, like Julius, Jason, Justin, etc. There are even some names of Germanic origin that begin with J, like Jeffrey.
A further point is that many of these names are essentially the same name. Your list of 18 names: Jack, Jackie, Jackson, Jill, Janet, Jeremy, Jeremiah, Jake, Jesus, Jacob, Jock, John, Johnny, John, Joe, Joel, Janice, Jur. Broken down into 9 groups: John, Johnny, John, Jock, Janet, Jack, Jackie, Jackson, son of Jack. Very closely related to John, sometimes treated as a diminutive: Jeremy, Jeremiah, Jake, Jacob, Jill, Jojo, Elginus. Jesus. I suspect these were selected arbitrarily, but they illustrate my point well. Other obvious groups include Julian, Jillian, July, etc. You've got Jill from this one. Joseph, Josephine, Joe, etc. You're Joe. James, Jim, etc. related to Jacob. Joshua, etc. Jennifer, etc. Many of these reached English through multiple routes, the most obvious being John/Jacques/Jack, but this group also relates to the initial I/J shift discussed in other answers as demonstrated by Ian/Ian/Ivan, and even Evan for further confusion.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.